So last week we learned we're terrible at predicting things, but this week we're hopefully going to get better. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this series on the Kiwi Lads channel. It is myself and it is Tony of Distracted Sports. We are going to be trying to predict the try scorers for the upcoming Rugby Championship round 4. But how are you going, mate? You excited? You disappointed as well with the amount of points you were able to translate last week?
Mate, I'm sopping wet with rage after last week. It was a disgusting performance, and you're far too harsh on yourself. You actually had a pretty successful week. How many of your try scorers came in? Was it three?
Two.
Why I'm thinking 3 is because one of your guys scored twice, which we've already discussed is a load of BS if you think that's counting for two lots of points. But you know what I'm excited about, Hainbo?
And what is that?
I'm excited. I'm excited about hearing about this new and improved convoluted point system.
So last week we learned that the point system that we had was a little bit too complex, using the golf analogy and kind of the reverse points and everything. We've made it a lot more simple. Tony doesn't actually know the new point system as of yet, but now he's about to. So you pick a forward, he scores a try, you get 5 points. Okay? Right. Bear with me. Any position in that 4-pack.
5 points.
And then the back line, anyone scores 3 points.
Right,
okay?
Right.
It's a little bit simpler, but also it allows a back replacement off the bench to be able to score 3 points and a forward replacement off the bench to be able to get 5. So maybe a few super sub options could come into our rankings throughout the next few weeks. We should also mention that we are not allowed to pick the same players that we had the week prior this week. So I cannot go Samasoni Takiao, even though he ran me in a beautiful try for the ABs. Right, so jumping into it, random number generator. Normally it would be whoever got more points last week gets a start, but I'm feeling very generous. 1 to 2. Are you number 1 or number 2 today, bud?
I was number 1 last week. It didn't go well for me, so I'm going to go 1 again.
Okay.
Here we go. Look at this.
There you go. It is a number 1. Jeez, that's some good focus. So you are going first. You get first pick.
I thought it would go then pick one, but it just goes onto the next number. All right. Well, in that case, you picked him last week. I'm picking him this week. He scored 2 tries in his previous 2 games, one against South Africa, one against Argentina. It's got to be my main man, Samasoni Takiao. I will select him, and I will select him with great confidence and wondrous glee.
For 5 points as well, I should mention.
5 points. He's boy, he is head and shoulders above the other two number 2s, hookers for New Zealand at the moment. Cody Taylor had a particularly poor game on the weekend. It's quite sad to see how bad that guy played, and he's been dropped, hasn't he, this week?
Yeah, instead Dane Cole's off the bench.
Yeah. Who would be out of if Dane Cole's who's the next hooker in New Zealand that you'd like to see in there?
That was actually going to be the question I was going to give you. I think at the moment, up there in the running, you're looking at Asafa Moore, maybe Kurt Eklund. One of those two might be that next guy in there.
I like Asafa Moore. Yeah, he is. Look, they're Wellingtonian, eh?
And then even younger, you go Brody McAllister, maybe, of the Crusaders.
Yeah, so there is talent coming through there, and those, Cody Taylor and Dane Coles are pretty long in the tooth now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're both getting up there. Dane Coles, I think the good thing about him is he's going to have a little bit more, I guess, angriness to him than Cody Taylor off the bench. He's going to be a bit more get in the fight, pull someone's hair. Well,
absolutely. Him and Lavavini can go at it. Him and Lavavini can have a little bit of a testicle pulling contest. It'd sound like fun, wouldn't it? I like it when he walked up to the referee and the referee was holding a yellow card. He's like, what's that?
Of course, we should mention once again, we have got the rule of you need every single team involved in your 5 selections. So I think strategically, I should try and get in and get a couple good players from these sides that may not have as many popular guys, I guess, in their team. I would have gone Juan Matan Gonzalez straight off the bat, but they've taken him out of the starting lineup, which is a bit of a shame there. Instead, Santiago Grondona, I believe, has been added in there. But I am going to go with the number 8 for Argentina, Mr. Crusader Pablo Matera.
You wanted to select him last week, but in a last-minute change of rules where you couldn't get that guy in, could you?
No, because you are not allowed same one position twice.
Yeah, you struggled to slip him in. That's right. That's what I heard.
I was actually pretty impressed with the reception that he got in Christchurch. I thought it was going to be real hostile, but everyone just loves that guy at the moment.
Yeah, he seems like a charming fellow, doesn't he? He really does.
And I love the fact that when the national anthem was playing and then the haka, I mentioned it on my live stream. I was like, he's got to be nervous at the moment. It goes to him. He's just grinning. He's just happy as in Christchurch.
Well, comfortable in Christchurch, comfortable at that ground, and to be fair, out of all the people playing Super Rugby in in the Super Rugby comp, he's one that is playing particularly well. You know how the Northern Hemisphere often say, "Oh well, it's a sign that Super Rugby isn't that great." But yeah, Pablo Matera, he learned a lot while he was at the Crusaders, and he's come back to the Argentinian squad with a whole new lease on life. And he's playing a career best form almost. Pretty good stuff.
I think it's worn off on those other teammates as well. Like Juan Matan Gonzalez, I think under Pablo Matera is going to be a great player in the next few years. He's already proven it. He's up there near leading try scorer of the comp. He would have probably been a safe pick, but I could still get him, couldn't I?
Yeah,
unless I'm double bluffing and trying to make you select him.
Are you double bluffing? Are you double bluffing? This is my pre-selection ritual just to make sure I'm doing a sanity check. Making sure I've got the right person. It's got to be Marika Korenbiti. I know he's a back. He's not worth as many points. I was planning on getting him when I was under the illusion of this golf metaphor, and he was a number 11. But boy, oh boy, is there a better 11 in the world at the moment? Well, just judged off the last weekend. But boy, he was everywhere. Just an outstanding player, and just one of those players who's a joy to watch. Just getting into things, making things happen. That amazing tackle. Like, I know he put his head in the wrong position. He could have knocked himself out. There was an arm in it. Get over it, South Africans. And
I think South Africa is my biggest demographic.
There you guys go subscribe to Distracted Sports. No, I love the South Africans. I really, really do. But there was I didn't have a horse in that race. Like, for me, it looked a bit awkward because his head was on the wrong side, but he has an arm in it. Yeah, and Mapimpi was just about to be launching, so he was propelling himself up, and when the collision happened, he went up, and it was fine. It was beautiful. That was iconic. That is going to be replayed over and over and over again. And to be fair, beyond that, Conor Betty was just everywhere. He was playing he felt like more like he was doing incredible attacking like a winger you want a winger to do, and amazing defensive work. But just in terms of how often he appeared everywhere, he just really got himself about. Spectacular performance. Spectacular.
Because that tackle on Mapimpi, when you see it in the widescreen of where he's come from to make that tackle, he did about a probably 40-meter sprint to just have half a chance of being able to make that one. And he scored last week.
9 times out of 10, he scored last week. 9 times out of 10, more 99 times out of 100, you okay, that's a try every day of the week. With a freakish athlete like Mapimpi there, you think you really back him to get in there, but just pure athleticism to actually make the distance and just total character and grit to put his body on the line. Very dangerous. Not that so dangerous for Mapimpi. Mapimpi got launched. He could have come down badly, I guess, but he put the thing that makes me a little bit nervous when I watch that footage is his head's on the wrong side. And we were all taught growing up, cheek to cheek. You know what that means, Hamish?
I do indeed, yes.
Cheek
we're
to
not
cheek.
talking about cheek to cheek on the faces, are we? One of them's faces.
Well, definitely. It's not. It just made me think of, I just thought of 2 dudes trying to tackle each other, but just ass on ass. Bam, bam, bam. Sorry to get so graphic with your viewers. I apologize.
That's all right. Right, so you got Marika Korenbiti. It's a very good pick.
I'm glad I do have that man. And what's also great? We didn't just rabbit on about bullshit the last 15 minutes.
So jumping into my second pick now, I had to remember who my first one was. So I got Pablo Matera. That is an Argentine crossed off. Now, I'm wanting to go down the way of a Springbok, I think. Quite a few changes. No Andre Pollard due to injury. No Lucanio due to injury, and also a few of those other guys getting taken out of the starting lineup. So for me, I think a safe bet is still going to be maybe who you had last week, which was Makazole Mapimpi. In fact, no, that's who I had last week, so I can't go rats. So instead, I'm going to lock him in early because I feel like you might consider him. I'm going Malcolm Marx as my pick. He's worth 5 points. Seems like a very good odd to be able to stick him in there. And also, because of all the changes the Springboks have got, I sense we're going to see a bit more of an attacking style rather than bit more of that possession and kicking that we did see a little bit earlier on.
They're so bloody minded with their style of play, and in that game in the weekend, they had that incredibly long period of attack against the Wallabies, and I think at the end of this first half where you just thought they were going to crack them, and they couldn't crack them. They really could. The Wallabies did particularly bloody well, but they just have struggled to actually have really good backline attacking shape a lot of the time. Some of the stuff they do from broken play, and Lekanyuam is just a great player, and you can, especially in broken play, but it seems as though they've had such a very stringent structure of just box kicks, kicking possession away after one or two phases all the time, and they've almost forgotten how to attack. So it's almost hard to pick a back because they get so few opportunities. You know what I mean? So I think Malcolm Marx is about as likely as anyone in that squad. So good choice. Good choice.
Thank you very much, mate. So now you're on to your third pick. Which country do they play for?
I'll go with the Springbok too. What happened to Steph de Toit? He's not playing this weekend.
I think he might be injured as well. I think they ended up with a whole heap of injuries from that first Wallabies match, or he might have just been left out of the lineup. I know he had a bit of a 50-50 game for that first week. So instead, I believe number 7, they've now gone with Franco Mostert, which is an interesting choice because off the bench, they've actually got Quagga Smith as the number 19 replacement. So maybe.
How old is Quagga Smith? Because my God, that guy looks like he's about 97. Like he is.
I want to say he's 27, maybe. I'm gonna.
He's an old looking boy.
I think it's the nose. He's been through a few battles with that nose. He is 29.
He looks older than Franz Steyn, who is in his 90s.
Although when he smiles, he looks a bit younger.
Does he?
I found a picture here of him, and he looks very happy.
Oh, I feel bad now. I like his name, Quagga. I feel like Quagga
kind of sounds like an Australian nickname.
Quagga. I think Quagga is it's an old ancient bird that went extinct.
I think his first name's actually Albertus. I think I saw someone saying.
Quagga's way cooler than Albertus, so I can see why he went that way. I'm going to go a little bit out of left field. I just got a feeling in my waters about this. I feel like this guy will have taken the last two losses, particularly personally. I quite like watching him when he's in the open. Doesn't get in the open that much, but when he does, he looks quite powerful and majestic, like a powerful giraffe protecting its newborn child.
Why did a giraffe have a child rather than a baby giraffe?
I don't know where I was going with that. But I'm going to go with Eben Etzebeth. That's, a little bit out there, but he's a forward. I wanted to go with Steph de Toit. Like, I feel like he has a bit of an attacking threat to his game, but Eben Etzebeth, I'm going to lock that in. I feel like he's going to have a massive game this weekend. I feel like he would have taken these last two losses, particularly personally, and he'll have the bit between his teeth. He'll get over from in close, I'd say.
Okay, so I need a Wallaby, and I know that if I pick Nick White, I would get probably absolutely destroyed. But the thing is, he probably doesn't have a bad chance of scoring as much as people are hating him at the moment. But I think for me, if I had to pick a Wallaby, I kind of want to go on that forward pack again. For some reason, it's just kind of shining for me, like your light that's all of a sudden turned on. What light was that?
My light's
You're
turned
all of a sudden like very bright.
Oh, really? I apologize. Well, the light stayed the same the whole time. Most people like it when the light's off. Whenever I've made love to a woman, they usually insist that I turn the lights off. I don't want to look at this. Okay, where are we up to in this game? Whose turn is it? Is it yours?
I have no idea. Okay, so my Wallaby that I do want to go with. See, the thing is, Tom Wright's a decent shout as well out on that other wing. I think he could have a decent crack. But I'm going to go with a forward, and I'm going to go... See, the obvious choice is Valentini, but I can't pick him, of course, because I've already got a number 8. So instead...
Well, I went with Valentini last week, so I can't go with him either. And he let me down.
He did, yeah. It was unfortunate for you. Savage. No, sorry. I am going to, for some reason, a man is standing up to me, and that is Jed Holloway.
Oh my gosh, I thought you were like on some sort of acid trip explaining like some vision you were having. Like, there's a man standing and he's standing up to me and he's looking into my soul. And that man is Jed Holloway.
Well,
That sort of thing.
he's had a couple quiet games. I'm surprised they kept him in the starting lineup rather than Rob Leota, which is why I just realised I could have picked the bench. But never mind. I'm still going to go with Jed Holloway. Fraser McWright, he got his double last week.
The fact he scored 2 tries last week probably just makes it more likely he's going to score another try. He's in that sort of try-scoring mood. Have you just planted a seed in my mind?
Oh, you've got one Wallaby already, which means could be a wild card.
Perhaps you have. And I'm going
Where did that come from?
I wanted to be more like you because you always seem to have your guitar just on reach.
I do, yes. There you go.
Yeah, this is jam time.
Do you see that head? That's actually Ian Foster's forehead down there. That looks really bad now that I think about it. That sentence combined with whereabouts he is.
We have to pick 5 players, don't we?
We do.
Oh, right. For some reason I was thinking 4. And last week we picked 5. Okay, no, I am going to pick, I think just based on his confidence and just a heck of a porno mustache that he's rocking, his work rate around the field, the fact he's always on the bloke's shoulder who's in a gap, he puts himself in great positions to score tries. And that's not going to stop this weekend. And that is why I'm going for the very successful player from last weekend. And that has got to be, you know what I'm going to say, Fraser McWright. Fraser. Come on down, Fraser.
See, I thought you were going Nick White-wise. For a second, you talked about the stash, and I thought, okay, interesting.
No, well, he's got like a big old sort of Mario Brothers sort of stash, whereas McWright has this little thin sort of 70s porno mustache.
Can you do a Mario impersonation just for the lovely people at home?
Can I do it? Hey, Luigi! No. I can't do
I feel like you can tell a lot from a person if they're willing to try an impression, It's like some people, you're outgoing. You're willing to give things a crack.
I'll give it a crack even if I suck at it, which I clearly did. What's your Mario impression then, if we're trading Mario impressions?
It's a me, Mario. Yahoo!
Oh, that was good. That's good. So you've obviously played What's the Name? Your What's the Name game a lot more.
Oh, yes, I do enjoy a bit of Grand Theft Auto. Mario Kart? No, not a huge amount. I played one that's like on the Wii, where you like slam the basketball down in hockey and whatnot.
Right. Was that a Mario game?
Yeah.
Do you know what the first ever Mario game was? Maybe one of the very first ever computer games.
Mario.
No, Donkey Kong. Yeah, Donkey Kong. Donkey
the
Kong.
Barrel boy, isn't it?
The barrel guy, yeah, and that's Mario. The character is Mario. He's jumping over the barrels. That's Mario.
Yahoo! We should get Donkey Kong as our secondary hooker for New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be able to throw one straight. Oh, Zinger, sorry, that's harsh.
He always throws them straight, doesn't he? I feel sorry for Cody because he's just been so quality for ages, and he was playing well for the Crusaders, wasn't he?
So he's had a bit of a weird one, hasn't he? Because like you mentioned, he was on a high, and then he went down, and then he went back up, but it seems like he's now stuck in the current or like some sort of little like slip and slide where he can't quite climb up the hill. There's a lot of dishwashing liquid around.
Yeah, he's definitely put too much detergent on the vinyl, hasn't he?
The vinyl?
It's not vinyl. What is it? It's like a
Poland.
Yeah. He's too much detergent on the top. Can we say that? Like a tarpy type thing, isn't it? Yeah, he's had a tough old ride. And you reckon he's had ups and downs in his career? I've always just thought of him as very consistent.
I think recently, like last 1 or 2 years has been when he's really hit a bit of a tough patch. And I don't know whether that's because like overall some of the other Crusaders young hookers coming through, like I mentioned Brodie McAllister, maybe he's slightly shining a bit brighter at the moment, which might make him feel a bit more of the pressure, because for so long he was like, right, we're going Cody Taylor, Dane Coles, they are our two, and then before that, who was the Kevin Milamu, or is that too far back?
No. So before that, Dane Coles, what is it, Kevin? Who was the starting hookers for the 2015 World Cup? Was it Dane Coles was starting? Who was on the bench?
I think Milamu might have still been about.
Is it Kevin Milamu's last tournament?
Kevin Milamu and Cody Taylor. They did have both.
Who was in the match 23 for the big day in 2015 versus the Wallabies, the final? Have you been to Europe before, young man?
I have not been to Europe. I have been to Australia a few times and also to Bali.
Very nice. Very nice.
Where I sold some very good substances.
What did you?
So the
what substances were you selling, young man?
No, I was just, I was having every meal, pizza, garlic bread, and chips. That was where it was at. This was like 2013, Hamish, or whenever it was. All Blacks wise, I can't go Adi Savia because I did pick him last week. Also couldn't go with him because I've already got a number 8. I'm thinking backline for the ABs. I'd love to see this man score a try, but then the problem is if he scores, everyone will say he should be out on the right wing more often, and that is Will Jordan.
Right.
Love to see him at fullback, but he just doesn't seem like he's quite going to get that opportunity.
It feels like just looking at the makeup of the squad, it's the very definition of madness. Like doing the same thing over and over again, wanting a different result. So yeah, I'm with you. Like what a great attacking threat, but just I think if he was in the right system and he was playing in the right position, we could be talking about him as maybe the best player in the world. I think he's that potent, he's that brilliant, but he is just so underutilized. And yeah, he's done some good things. Did that great try against the Irish, but just doesn't know how to get himself involved enough when stuck out there on the right wing. So yeah, it's still a good shout though. Good shout to get him in there. What was your thinking around putting him in? Just because it was more a heart thing than a head thing? He's a prolific try scorer.
He's got to be due for one. Like, we're used to seeing him score every single match, like back in last year. But now it seems like that's kind of disappeared a little bit for him. Maybe because he's only touching the ball twice a game. And it's kind of when he's right near the touchline and got no space whatsoever. Yeah. So it does make it very tricky. That's being said, though, Jordie Barrett, for me, hasn't been playing terribly. Like, he's still been solid enough to keep that 15, but it's like, how much potential Will Jordan has got at 15 if you just give him the chance, because as soon as it goes back to Super Rugby, he's going 15, isn't he?
Jordie Barrett is only in there, like, he's a very good player, and the guy deserves to have some test minutes, 100%. But the reason that they've kept him in here is because we've got ourselves in a corner. Like, they don't feel confident enough in Richie Mo'unga or Bodie Barrett as a full-time kicker. And they've got Jordie out there to do the big, 55-point kick. And they find it really hard to substitute him because they're like, shit, we're behind. Like, if we need someone to do a 55-meter penalty, the only man in the whole squad who can do it is Jordie, and that might be in the 79th minute. Hence, we get a situation where Will Petafeta gets 50-second debut. And I think Jordie isn't, as you say, isn't doing anything particularly badly, but he's not doing anything incredibly well to, have a complete lock on a position, in the All Blacks. And it's just a bit of a crappy situation, really.
So, question with Jordie Barrett.
Yes.
If they were to change him, do you see the All Blacks playing him at 12 or putting him back out on the right wing like they tried a couple of years ago? If they had to go for one of those two positions.
Oh.
It hurts the chest, doesn't it?
It does. I kind of would like to see him on the bench or out of the 23 for a little bit. Honestly, because I want to see how Petafeta actually performs at test level. I want to see how he is and whether because he looked so classy all year. He really did for the Blues. And I would like to see whether he's got that sort of time, space, and class and made so many great decisions, and whether he can still make that really high decision-making that he seems to be able to execute to a really great degree with Super Rugby, see if he can do that at test level. And then maybe if he comes on with 20 minutes to go after having Will Jordan out there for 60 minutes, then Will Jordan moves out to a right wing or something. That's what I would like to see.
Yeah.
If we could get a regular kicker. So I would like to see Jordie definitely be brought back in potentially and being brought back in as an option, but not our full-time number 15. And it's going to be interesting once Damian McKenzie comes back. What's going to happen to him? Petafeta could be a 52nd All Black for all time. If Damian McKenzie comes out, who's the man to go?
And it's a sad reality, isn't it? Because, I said about it in I think it was the prediction video for the All Blacks, how Dalton Papali'i and Hoskins Sotutu, if they don't start giving them some decent game time, they're going to France, they're going to Japan, and you're not going to get them back. Like, if they're making heaps of money overseas, like, it's all well and good playing for the jersey, but if you're not getting selected when you're in the squad, like, surely that's disheartening for them. Like, Peter Feta, like you mentioned, he could have, like, 50 seconds on his All Black record and just have, like, everyone will remember him mainly, like, in the next year or so. It will be, you had your one debut, and in that game, you lost to Argentina for the first time on New Zealand soil. They won't remember it was 40 seconds for him.
Yeah. Well, I think they will, because that was just such a notoriously unfair decision on the guy. But yeah, and how do you think RTS is feeling about his decisions right now? Like, I know he's had a tough time with the Warriors for the last few years, but that guy is this time of year is used to playing 80 minutes of high intensity, high quality NRL, week on week on week. And when he was playing for the Roosters, and then when he played a little bit for the Warriors, even though they struggled with him in the squad, and he was their shining light, he was holding up the team, but he was in the thick of it. He was active, he was doing stuff, but now he's just a professional trainer. He just trains trains 5 times a week, and then never gets got put in that awful defeat against the Irish, and just has not had a look in ever since. Anyway, we're getting off track. We're just venting about the state of the All Blacks, aren't we?
We are, yes.
I have a sneaking suspicion this man is going to get over because he can't pass he can pass the ball, but he doesn't pass the ball.
Not to.
Chooses not to, and that is a man who may be one of the best wings in the country, but plays at centre, Rieko Ioane.
So you've gone with 2 All Blacks.
I have gone with 2 All Blacks. I have, because I'm a sucker for punishment. You're live streaming the game this weekend, I assume?
I am indeed. So it could be another record-breaking one for the Argentines. Every game that they have beaten the All Blacks for, we have been live streaming. So, fun fact there.
Can you not live stream?
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
What was the last time you actually just got to sit down and watch a game of footy on the couch?
Like international level?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. That is the look of a man searching his brain. You have watched rugby on the couch before. You weren't born.
I watched like the Bunnings NPC off live stream, but
did you find yourself calling the game while you're watching it?
Almost. Like you sit there going, oh, who do we think's going to be the first try scorer? Oh, yeah, it's just me. I think he's going to be the first try scorer. But
people would think that you're got dementia or something.
I want to say the last game was probably international-wise, maybe the Six Nations 2019 or something.
Wow.
Or 2020 maybe, because we didn't actually do the Six Nations the first year that we did YouTube.
So you wake up in the middle of the night, you live stream all those games too?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Jumping into my final prediction now. Are you excited?
This is my excited face.
Is it? Looks very similar to a face you showed earlier on. But now, see, I want to think that the All Blacks will fire back very quickly.
Is this better?
It looks very excited, but also you're about to I don't know, strangle someone. I am going with Tom Wright.
Oh, yes.
As my try scorer. He's on the same wing as Makazole Mapimpi. He did get a yellow card last week, but I think it was just wrong place, wrong time, really, because anyone who was in his shoes theoretically should have sacrificed that one so that the Springboks didn't go over the line. So I'm going Tom Wright. It's a bold call because the All Blacks, like I mentioned, I think they're firing back in this game well and truly. Surely it's around the corner. We kind of do this thing and we play really badly and then it's redemption the next week and everyone's kind of happy.
That was the story when we were talking about that loss that we had to Ireland and Dunedin, and then we played them the following week in Wellington and then lost again. This is a team that is losing. This is not a team that has winning as a habit. And they've had this so many times where people are like, oh, it's going to be a big backlash this week. And apart from that, the only time they had a big backlash was that one week that we all kind of wrote them off at Ellis Park. We were going, it's probably a bridge too far for this team. And then they played incredibly. such is life. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think you can say anything with certainty with this particular All Black squad and with this particular coach. As you know, I'm a big fan.
I've got this, which is fun.
What a how did you when you made that? That was it as a sign of support for Ian Foster, or how did this idea sort of manifest? Like
it actually came about because our first ever prediction video that we did for the All Blacks, it was we've got to try and guess what Ian Foster is going to select. So I wore the suit and I put this on my face for a start. And it's actually, you know, I first of all laminated it, but then he was too shiny for the lights. So I had to print him out again.
But question for you. When you were calling it and McWright scored, did you mention you go, oh yes, did you give yourself a little fist pump?
I did say that. 7 points. And then everyone was, well, it made sense because he scored it pretty close to the post. So everyone kind of who didn't know, they were like, oh, right. So the conversion's going to go over as well. But I was like, 7 points, yes.
Did I pick an Argentinian?
Might not have picked an Argentinian. Right, so we're going to have to adjust that, aren't we?
Okay,
who do you want to sacrifice?
I will have to sacrifice Fraser McWright, sadly. Okay. And I am going to choose Emiliano Buffelli. I like the cut of his jib. He's got across the line a couple of times this year. He'll definitely get points because he's hitting the ball very purely, but that's not the game. It's try predictions. But I've got a feeling Buffelli is going to cross that stripe. No, I can't. Oh, no, I can't do Buffelli because I thought for a second he's a number 11, but I chose Cotton Betty's 11. He's a 14, so we're okay. If Fraser McWright scores, I'm going to be punching myself in the nuts so hard. Like it's going to leave permanent damage.
The cheap way of doing a vasectomy, isn't it? So the stage is set. We've got our 5 picks, and now we just have to wait and see exactly how many points we will end up getting. So just to confirm, you have got 2 backs, 3 forwards?
I believe so. After that hoopla with McWright and whatnot, yes.
I just realised I've got 2 14, so I also have to change one. So, ladies and gentlemen, I also now just realised I have 2 14s, which means I do have to switch them out.
This game is a farce! Oh, yeah.
So instead, I'm going to go with Leonard Cattell, number 13 for the Wallabies, just moving one over.
I think that's a good choice. I was
go with them instead. We've had a shocker, haven't we?
Yeah, I thought Paisami and Ikatau played very well last week, and I was considering them. They were very, very solid in the midfield. Like worked really well together and found them were very, very involved. So I think it's a good choice.
So we both have the potential of getting 21 possible points. If we get none, we are on 0. That is the new rule that we have gone with. Do I get points from last week, by the way?
I think you should. The merits of the game, you're up, I'd say.
Yeah, so I had 2 forward scores, so I assume I'm on 10, and you had a back score, so you are on 3.
I've got a lot of ground to make up.
Maybe it could be this week, though. You never know. It's the thing about rugby, unpredictable, isn't it? All Blacks go out there, win by 50. Probably not. Pumas go out there, win by 50.
I'd be happy if they won by 5, or if they won by a point at the moment. I'll take
handy.
Take a 5-point victory. That would be a smashing over the Argentinians right now.
The All Blacks $1.70 favourites at the moment, but only just favourites.
Yeah, well, I thought they were still favourites to win by about 14 points, something like that, which seems a bit crazy. Anyway,
I think it's because everyone's assuming it's going to be like the South African one, how there's something just around the corner, but there may not be. And Los Pumas might be going back to Argentina with 2 from 2.
Maybe just more disappointment is around the corner. Maybe that's what it is.
But nonetheless, do let us know your try scorers in the comments as well, as we are interested to see who you would pick. So the rules, we probably made it very hard to follow because we both messed up. But pretty much you aren't allowed the same position for 2 players in your lineup. You need 5 different kit numbers and also 4 different teams included, Tony? But now that's going to be the end of the video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Check out this man next to me over here. His name is Tony. He's from Distracted Sports, and he's got a mean left hook on it.
Yeah. That's my one for Nick White's mustache. That one.
The nice little right hand tap. But nonetheless, we will see you all for the next one.